Good morning. This is VirtualPBX-admin training. Going to give people a minute here or so to join us if they're going to. And I also just want to make sure my sound is working properly. It sounds a little faint. Let me make another test. All right, there we go. All right. So like last week, this week we'll be doing trainings every day. This is to help our customers who have migrated to Dash from the V console get used to Dash itself and just have, I guess, a walkthrough of how to set up everything in Dash. So right here, we're at our login page, dash.virtualpbx.com. And it asks for your username, which is your email address, a password, and your account name. Now, if you for some reason didn't get an email with your login credentials, you can click on the Forgot Your Info link here at the bottom and just input your email address and say your account name. It's typically the easiest. Or if you happen to have one of your company phone numbers memorized, you can use that. It's these bottom two, it's one or the other. You don't have to do both. Then you'll get an email saying, hey, reset your password, and it will log you in. Now, after you change your password, the system will log you out and then make you log back in again. That's just to help reinforce your new password. And for most people, I say, hey, just click on the Remember Me, and that way you don't have to keep worrying about it, since we all have way too many passwords in our lives. And then we'll get logged in. Now, I'm logged into an established test account, so this is where I get directed to right off the bat. For new signups as well as newly migrated customers, but basically anyone, when you log in for the first time, you'll be taken to a page that looks like this. This basically takes you to your user information. You can change your email and your password here, as well as your time zone. If you're an admin, you will also have access to the account information. So you could change the account level time zone to make sure you're in the correct time zone, which would be important, especially if you're making use of custom office hours, as well as for the voicemail timestamps. Now, another thing that will show up is over here on the left. There'll be separate billing options. So you can see like your service plan, you can see your invoices, you can update your credit card information. There'll also be a pop-up going on telling you what these things are and directing you through. When you're done with going through the wizard here, go ahead and click on Close on the top right, and then now you'll be on your dashboard. Again, that first time logging in, you'll have the wizard be popping up to highlight different things. Now, up here at the top, again, you can click on your name at any time to get back to that account page. You got the little question mark icon here, and you've got some options here. Chat with us will open up a chat window that will get you to our support team, and they can walk you through a particular feature. You have the Learn More, which takes you to our support pages, right? So virtualpbx.com. If you mouse over support, this is where that will take you. You got the online store, which is just store.virtualpbx.com, where you can order, say, a VoIP phone or the desktop soft phone app, that sort of thing. And then you have a link here for the web phone. Now, this link only shows up once you have a web phone on your user. And then basically, once you've added it to your user, you have to log out and log back in, but then it'll show up. You can also just access the web phone by going to webphone.virtualpbx.net. And the web phone just makes use of Chrome and Firefox to make and receive calls on your computer using your internet connection. You got the hamburger or the menu icon here. This takes you to additional features of Dash. These are Not necessarily the core features. These are mostly, I guess, advanced or admin only kind of features. And then you've got the logout icon here. On the left, you've got the various core features of Dash, which I'll be going through. And we'll go here in the center here. We've got total users. So these are all the people on your account. They can make and receive calls. You can make them admins, or you can leave them as just your standard user. Next up, we got your total devices, right? So typically devices are associated with your users, but we got a breakdown here, right? Cell phone, pretty self-explanatory. The web phone, which I just talked about, so I've got 18 there on my users. Soft phone, software application, usually runs on a computer, and these days a tablet or smartphone. And this makes use of your internet connection to make and receive calls. And this is so a soft phone uses an application, whereas a web phone is specific to using Chrome or Firefox. All right. SIP phone, this is a particular type of VoIP phone. This is hardware, right? This sits on your desk, the physical phone. There are other types of VoIP phones on the market. So if you happen to be wandering around through a Best Buy, assuming they let you in, if you look at the VoIP phones, you just want to make sure it's SIP compliant or SIP compatible, and then you have a good chance to work with us, at least as a third-party device. And then landline, pretty self-explanatory. Then we've got this unregistered indicator here. I have 23 unregistered phones. This is almost always in relation to the VoIP devices, right? So the SIP phone, soft phones, or the web phone. Right, so 23 of them are unregistered. That means that they're not connected to us. So we can't send calls to them. We can't get calls from them. Now, that can be anything from someone didn't plug in their phone, or the dog ripped out the Ethernet cable as it was running by, or someone just lost internet connection completely, or their ISP is having an issue. It's a wide variety of things can make a phone unregistered. Total numbers. Oops, I clicked on numbers again. Let's go back to the dashboard here. So these are the total phone numbers on the account. Your account, so for new plans, includes anywhere from 1 to 15 as part of your plan price. If you go beyond that, then you'd be charged, I believe it's $1.99 per month per phone number. Can go up to as much as $5 per month per phone number. And then we got a breakdown here, assigned numbers and spare numbers. So an assigned number, it's going someplace, right? So like one of these main numbers, for example, or it's a number I assign to one of my users to go directly to them, or to one of my ring groups, or one of my queues, etc. Spare number, it's a number on my account. I'm not actively using it. If these numbers put me over my allotment, I would still be charged for that $1.99 per month, for example. And this could be because I had a special promotion that just ended, and I just unassigned a number, so I stopped getting calls on that number. Or it could be like I got a block of 10 numbers that were in sequence, and I just haven't gotten to the last couple of numbers yet. Right, so you're just holding on to numbers for whatever reason. Another breakdown here is between USDID and US toll-free. Right, toll-free, 800 number, 888 all the way down to 833. USDID just means US local number, right? So a number, say, in Los Gatos, California, versus a number, say, in Fort Worth, Texas. You can also have a line here for international numbers. If you're interested in international numbers, you're going to want to email porting, P-O-R-T-I-N-G, at virtualpbx.com. They'll need to know the city and country that you're interested in having a number for. In some cases, we need to get extra information or documentation from you. So like if you wanted a number, say, in Berlin, Germany, we would need to get a proof of presence, like a utility bill, in Berlin. And that's something that Germany requires in order to get a number in Germany. Whereas, say, if you wanted a number in London, they would that's all we need to know, that you want a number in London, and we can get you one, right? And there's all sorts of it's going to vary from country to country. All right, down here we have conference bridges. This basically saying I have enabled conferencing on 6 of my users, meaning they can moderate or host a conference. Now, you can't enable conferencing on a user unless you have a main conference number. It's something to bear in mind. Over here on the right, we've got our main numbers, right? So these are the general numbers my customers call to get to my system. These numbers all behave the same way, right? They're all going to route to the same location. They're all going to have the same main greeting, for example. Here's my main conference number, right? So this is what everyone dials to get to my conference room or conference rooms. And then this is my main fax box number. Having a main fax box number means I've enabled faxing on the account. The fax box number is what receives faxes, right? So that's what everyone uses to fax to me. And you can only have the one fax box number. You can have multiple conference numbers if you want. Company directory, this download link is a text file, shows all your users with their extension numbers. The soft phone directory, this is for use with our desktop soft phone application. So you would download this file and then upload it to your desktop soft phone. And you would then be able to see all the other users on your account that have soft phone, the VirtualPBX soft phone, and their status, right? So I could see if someone's on call or if they've marked themselves as busy, etc. You have a stored discount code. So just for being a Dash customer, you get a discount in our online store. And then we've got the account realm. This is used in programming a third-party application or device. It's one of the key pieces of information you would need to do that. It's also used in faxing out. So on Dash, currently faxing out is an email to fax. So you create a new email. In the to field of that email, you put the plus sign, the number 1, and then the area code or phone number, i.e. where you're faxing to, your @ symbol, and then you put this account route. And then in that email, you attach a PDF or a TIFF file and send it off. You don't need to in fact, there's no point in typing in the body of that email because the system is only grabbing the attachment and sending that as a fax. All right, caller ID. Now, the streaming software doesn't always let me show all my pull downs, so I'm stuck with this one phone number. But here I can set my company caller ID name. This is, you can use up to 15 characters, including spaces and special characters. And then when you click on Save Changes, that will get transmitted to the other carriers who support CNAME, or the company caller ID name. It takes about up to 3 business days for those various servers to be updated among these various companies. And then hopefully when you make an outbound call for your VoIP phones, your company caller ID name will show up on the other end. Now, I say hopefully because not every carrier that your call can route through supports CNAME, which means if your call happens to go through one of those, the CNAME information doesn't go through. Even for those carriers who do support the CNAME, it's not a high priority, right? The first priority is connect the call, followed by showing the caller ID, the actual phone number, and then a distant third would be the CNAME information. So if they have heavier than expected call volume, that's probably not going to go through. Obviously, if they're having a maintenance or an actual outage, you're probably just lucky to get your call to connect. All right, down here, we've got the company emergency information, or the E911. So this is just the address that you have associated with this phone number. And again, if someone picks up a VoIP phone, dials 911, this would be the default address that gets sent to emergency services. And if you make any changes, you always just click on Save Changes. Interesting, I'm not sure what that error was. All right, up here we got hold music. So hold music on Dash is defined as once a call has reached a user and that user has pressed hold on their VoIP phone. That's when hold music will play. Then you can upload your own file. Just browse on your computer here. Dash will play back .wav, .wav, and .mp3 files. and then you would just click on this little upload icon. You want to make sure that that file is recorded in mono, not in stereo. It's under 1 megabyte, and again, .wav.mp3. And then you would click on Save Changes. Now, hours here, this takes you into a subsection of the main number. So let's just dive into the main number. There we go. All right. So main company numbers, right? These are all your numbers on the account. You can add numbers here directly from your spare numbers. So I can choose any of these three. You can also buy numbers, right? So you can hit local or toll-free. Toll-free, pretty easy. You select the prefix that you want. You'll see a number. You can click add. It will add it to your cart, like so. And then you can click on buy numbers. Whereas for local, you need to enter in the area code that you're looking for. We will let's try 650 in Northern California. Again, you'll see the numbers that are available, and you click add. It shows up here. You can add multiple, right? So like that, and I could buy all of them. And it would add, in this case, I would add them all as main numbers, right? Because that's where I am. So any place where you can add a number, so like directly to a user on a ring group, etc., you can buy numbers and it will add it directly to that location. Also, you always have this little gear icon, so you can set up the caller ID for a specific phone number. Again, and this is for the caller ID name, and then you can turn on for the inbound as well. Right, E911, you can set up the E911 for each individual phone number. And then prepend, this is for VoIP phone users. You can set up additional text in front of the caller ID that will show up on their phone to give your staff members an indication of what the call might be about. All right. Office hour strategy. So new signups start off at 24 hours open office. And some people leave it that way. Other people want the custom office hours. If you do so, put a check mark for each day of the week that you're open. And then in these boxes to the right, select your open hours in 24-hour/military time. You also have this option right down here at the bottom. It says, are you closed for lunch? And then you can indicate your lunch hours here. And that way the system can automatically put you in lunchtime when that time rolls around. Next, we have office holidays. If you're closed for holidays, you put a check mark here. And then over here on the right, you've got the option of adding a holiday. You've got single day, date range, and advanced. All right, single day, like I have here for President's Day. Again, you give it a name, you pick the month, you pick the date, and then you would click on Save Changes. Date range, like I have here for Christmas. Put in the start date and the end date. And then for advanced, that's like I have here for retreat. I'm just saying, hey, the first Friday in July, we're on holiday, right? Company picnic day. Again, any changes here, you click on Save Changes. Now, notice that there's no year indicator. So for something like President's Day, right, each year I'd have to change the date to match the appropriate holiday. Whereas for something like I have for the retreat, since I'm just saying, hey, the first Friday, it doesn't care about the year. So the main caveat that comes across is actually on a date range that includes New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That's something you do not want to do. You want to just do a separate single day for each of those because the system will then put you in holiday mode. Next up, incoming call handling. So again, we're dealing with our main numbers up here that were listed up here. And now I'm on their open hours. You also have your after hours tab and your holiday tab. All right. And then these are how the calls will route. So first option, and probably the most common, calls come in and they go to the virtual receptionist, if you click on the virtual receptionist link there, this will pop open a new window. On my left is the main menu, right? This is what people press on their phone to navigate through your system on top of extension numbers. And then over on the right is our greeting options. Now, right, so I have one is going to what looks like going to a queue, 2 is going to a voicemail box, 3 I have going to a ring group, 4 is going to yet another queue, 6 is going to a test ring group, and then 8 is going to Taylor. Right? If I need to add routes, right, or add additional options, gives me a new row. Now, again, unfortunately, my pull down isn't showing, but you could basically have 0 through 9 and the default route, and then you can choose where you want it to go. So, and you've got everything that's on the account. So this account has quite a lot, right? So you can always go to the Smart Directory, right, the user directory. You can send it to any specific user. I can send it to any of my call queues. Queues is a paid feature. Standard queues are $15 or $30 per month. The Queues Pro, I believe, start at $99 per month. It depends on your plan. You can send it to a specific device, right? So I can send it to this particular phone. Scrolling down, you can also send it to a media file, right? So I can have a greeting play. Now, by default, after the media file plays, the call would end. And then you can send it to a ring group. A ring group is like a department, right? So like you can send it to your billing team or your sales team, right? Queues are an advanced version of groups. They do have some advantages and disadvantages between the two. Advanced call flows. So these two call flows are actually different auto attendants. So a new thing on Dash is you can make use of submenuing, right? So I could literally select one of these auto attendants. That auto attendant has its own greeting. It has its own menu options. And then you can also send it to a voicemail box, and that should be that. Over here on the right, the greeting options, text-to-speech. You type it in, and you click Update. You would click on Save, and then Save Changes. You got the computerized robotic voice. This is I recommend typically for people who are not familiar with using a PBX phone system, and especially if they're a startup as well. They're just trying to figure out what they want it to do and how they want it to work with, right? Because it's easy to change as you test things out. You can upload your own file. Again, you find the file, click Update, .wave.mp3, recorded in mono under 1 megabyte. You can choose from any existing file that's on the account, whether it's text-to-speech, a file you uploaded, etc. You can record it over the phone. Now, by default, the system wants you to use a VoIP phone, right? It says, when it says my phone registered, that's what it means, a VoIP phone. But then, so during my open hours, I can call in and I can enter in this PIN number and record a new greeting over the phone. Now, right now, if you notice down here at the bottom, I have Allow Outside Recording, and it's on. What that means is I can actually use a cell phone or a landline to call in and still enter this PIN and record it over the phone. Now, if I turn that off, that means it's only the VoIP phones. Now, one thing about recording it over the phone, if you already have a greeting file in place, right? So right now you've got greeting A is uploaded. That's what plays when anyone calls in. And then if you call in to record it over the phone, right, the greeting A file name stays the same. The content will get overwritten with whatever you record with. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if greeting A is your normal main greeting that you use for most of the year, and you want to do a special like holiday greeting, you probably want to record that on your computer and upload, or select a different file name from your existing recordings to overwrite. Professional recording services. When you click order, this will take you to another website hosted by Snap Recordings, who we've partnered with. You can choose from about 80 to 100 voice actors and actresses. They have different versions of English, like UK English versus or Australian English versus US English. I believe they have different versions of Spanish and French as well, so you can do multilingual greetings. They also have hold treatment, right? So they can have a music file play and then a script read, etc. They handle their own pricing and they have their own packages and they handle their own billing. They deliver via email, usually in .wav or .mp3, and so then you would just simply upload the file. All right, these settings here, number of retries on missed dial. Basically, how many times can someone put an invalid entry before the system either goes to the default route or ends the call, right? And so in this case, I'm saying they can mess up 2 times. I usually say you want it like at 1 or 2, anywhere from 1 to 3 for most people. And then dialing timeout is how much time the system waits after it hears a button press before it assumes the person is done, right? Typically, I say, like, again, anywhere from 1 to 5 is enough. And then, again, the outside recording, typically you want that off just so you don't have random people trying to figure out your PIN number to change your greeting on you. And then if you make any changes, click on Save Changes. Let me go back. Oh, one other thing I should point out here, let me bring this back up. The default route, if you may not want to have a default route, right, just because of robodialers, right? A robodialer can call your main number, listen to your greeting, right, a couple of times, and then get to your default route. Like, especially if your default route's like a voicemail or one of your users, you're going to end up getting those weird voicemail messages, right, where it's like someone telling a joke or a random music file or whatever. So if you get rid of the default route, then after the last mistry redial, the call will end. Right. Next up here, we've got the call comes in. I'm offering it to my employee, Bob. If Bob isn't able to answer, it then goes to the virtual receptionist. This virtual receptionist is that, since we're on the open hours, it's the same settings here. So not a big concern. And then under Bob, I don't have to send it to Bob. I can send it to any one of my other colleagues. I can scroll down. I can send it to a call queue. I can send it to a ring group. I can send it to a specific device, etc. But basically, the idea here is to give a staff member or multiple staff members a chance to answer a call before the inbound caller gets to the virtual reception. Right. This last option here, or third option here, call, again, offering it to Bob, and then it goes to voicemail. And same options, you can send it to groups, you can send it to queues, a media file, etc. This one has one additional option. Let's go all the way down here to the bottom, which is this one here, right? Skip the voicemail. This is probably something I would see more on an after hours, right? You basically call and say, hey, just send them the voicemail because we're not open. Right, so after hours and holidays, right, the virtual receptionist for each of these is unique, right? So you can set up with different greetings, different routing options, etc. You can set them up the same. However, if you're going to do that, I would just say just have your office hours be open 24 hours. All right, the main conference number, you can add from your spam numbers. You can buy directly. You can click on custom greeting here. This is just a text-to-speech greeting. Even if you don't have one here, the system will still prompt the inbound caller to enter in the conference room number and the PIN number so they can join the conference. All right, main fax box number. Again, you can only have the one. If you click Edit Fax Box on your accounts, you'll have a pop-up show up with 2 fields. On this account, I get an error message because, again, it's a test account. So in that window, the first field is who is receiving the inbound faxes. Right? You just put in an email address, and that email address would get every inbound fax as a PDF attachment. The second field is for outbound permissions. So if you own your own company domain, you can then put that domain in that second field. Anybody at your company who has an email address with that domain can then fax out. They don't have to be a user on your Dash account, right? They just have to have, Bob at abccleaners.com email address, right? Because that's the domain I'm using. Again, to fax out, you create an email in the to field, +, number 1, area code and phone number at your account realm, and attach a PDF or a TIFF file. Right, devices. This shows all your devices on the account. And you can add devices here. So the first one is SIP phone, right? That's that physical VoIP phone. And then you have your choice of manufacturers. You select one of them, and then you select the model of the phone you're working with. And then you give it a name, and then you enter in the MAC address. The MAC address is unique to each phone. Usually a sticker on the back. It can be on the box, or usually if you power up the phone and you click on the menu, get the status. That's usually one of the things that shows up here. So after you've added the name and the MAC address, you click on Create Device. You usually then have the option to assign it to a user. Then on the device, you need to get into the device's web user interface. And you enter in a URL. And that basically tells the phone, hey, go to this website. It communicates with it to get the configuration file. The phone will reboot a few times. And then it should show up as a green device. Now, the specific instructions you can find on our website. Right, go to VirtualPBX.com, mouse over support, select a Dash support, and then over on the right-hand side under VoIP phones, you're looking for auto provisioning phones, and that will have this instructions with screenshots on what to add. All right, cell phone and landlines are essentially the same. You give it a name, you put the number. Now it's the +, number 1, and then the area code and phone number. You assign it to somebody, and then you click on Create Device. So when Dash sends a call to a cell phone or landline, right, the phone will ring, you pick up, you're going to hear, this is a forwarded call, please press 1. When you press 1, you're telling the system, yes, you're there, and yes, you want to take the call. It then connects you. Now, if, for instance, you're sending calls to, say, an automated answering service, right, for your after hours especially, you don't want that because your automated answering service typically cannot press 1, right? It doesn't have fingers. So what you would want to do is come here and click on the little wrench icon, click on Advanced, and you put a check mark here in front of Allow Use of Cell Phone's Voicemail, and you click on Save Changes. So now what happens is when we send a call to this phone number, we hear that pickup tone, we connect the call. Right, so now your automated answer service can take over the call, and everything is fine. Now, the other option here is keep original caller ID. So say Mary is calling you through your system. On your cell phone, you see Mary's phone number. You don't recognize it, so you're like, I don't think I want to take this call. If you uncheck this, right, so uncheck keep original caller ID, what happens instead, when Mary calls in, your main number that's on the account, so the one that you've set up for the caller ID along the top there on the dashboard page, that's the phone number that shows up on your cell phone. So then you know it's a work phone call. Right, soft phone, again, software application that runs on a computer, tablet, smartphone. Now you get this little warning message basically saying, hey, because of wireless technology, You may not actually be at the correct address for 911 services, so please be aware. Go ahead and click on close. And it starts you off here as a third-party soft phone application, right? So you're going to use a piece of software from Counterpath for your soft phone instead of the VirtualPBX app. Or, for instance, you didn't see your particular model of phone or manufacturer of phone under that SIP phone list, then this is what you would want to use. You just put a device name and you would click on create device, or assign it to an owner and then create device. You would use the SIP username, and if you click on the SIP password box, you can see the SIP password and your account realm to program that application or that device. Now, if you want to use the VirtualPBX soft phone, then what you want to do is click here where it says use third-party application. You want to click that. That flips it to say use VirtualPBX application. You give it a name, and then you assign it to an owner. You click on create device. When you do that, the system will automatically email the extension owner or user their soft phone credentials so they can log in. Now, if you're going to use the desktop version of the app, you're going to want to order that through the web store because that requires a license fee. But if you're just going to use it on mobile, like iOS or Android, they can just download the app. It's called the VPBX phone. And once they have the credentials, they can log in and they're ready to go. And then web phone, again, same error message because it's because of wireless technology. Again, you give it a name, you assign it to a person, and then you click on create device. Now, the web phone uses the same login information as your Dash login, right? So for dash.virtualpbx.com, you've got your email address, your password, and your account name. And if you go to webphone.virtualpbx.net, it would ask you put in that same information, and you get logged in. Again, using Chrome or Firefox. All right, greetings. This is your greetings manager. You can add a file here. I just give it a name, find it on your computer, click on create greeting. Again, .wave.mp3 recorded in mono under 1 megabyte. You can see your greetings that are on the account with their name. The source, TTS, is text-to-speech. Upload obviously means you upload it. Recording means you record it over the phone. You can download any of your recordings here. So that way you can listen to them on your computer. And then if you click on the little wrench icon to edit, you can change the name so it's something you might recognize more easily. Or you're like, hey, I don't need this one, and you can get rid of it. Groups is short for ring groups. Again, this is departments. You can click add a group. You give it a name and extension number. The extension number is typically just so other staff members can transfer calls to the group. And then you click and drag everyone you want to be in the group. And then you click on create group. After you've done that, you can click on a group's name. You can always change the name. You've got dialing repeats here. And there's these little arrows over here to the right. You can increase that. That's basically the number of times the inbound caller can ring through to the members of the group, right? So if I have 1, that means they can go through 1 time. If I click on the members box, you see that I've got, right now I have calls, when calls come in, they ring in this order. And up here, that's the total ring time, 120. You can change that, right? I can change it down to 60, I can change it to 360, etc. Now, if I don't like this order, right? Let's say I'm like, nope, Bob's my ace, so I want him up on calls first. But Jean needs some help, like she needs to get some more experience, etc. And then I can click distribute again, and now it'll go in this new order. Now, these little green lines here, these are all sliders. So I can do something like this, for instance, and that way everyone's rung at the same time for the entire time. All right, this is referred to as blast ringing. So now the disadvantage of this is, like, let's say Bob answers the call that comes in and another call comes in. He's going to hear a call waiting beep on his side until one of the other staff members picks up. All right. Extensions. All right. Groups can have multiple extensions if you need them to. And phone numbers. Groups can have their own phone numbers go directly to the groups. Now, one thing to keep in mind, or one advantage that groups, or a couple advantages groups have over ACD queues. Right? Groups can have an extension number and a phone number, whereas queues can have one or the other. Likewise, groups, the members in the groups can answer calls from with a cell phone or a landline or a VoIP phone. Whereas on queues currently, you can only answer calls with VoIP devices. We're hoping that will change come January, but just something to keep in mind. Next up, we've got group features. So ringback, this allows you to put in a media file, right? .wav, .mp3 recorded in mono under 1 megabyte. Basically, this will play until a staff member answers the call. Next action is if you enable this, if no one answers, what do you want to do? So I can send them back to the main menu. I can send them to any device. I can send them to a user. I believe you can, yeah, I can send them to other groups. You can send it to a voicemail box. Let me check something here. All right. And the most common is probably being a voicemail box. Then you click on Save Changes. Allow call forward. This, if you enable this, allows your users to make use of call forwarding, i.e. they're not at their normal phone that they're typically at, so forward the call to a phone that they will be at. Caller ID prepend. This is, again, a wait phone feature. You can add additional text or numbers in front of the caller ID to let your staff know what the call is about. Very useful if you have staff members in multiple groups.